Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Viking Spin. We are back in action here just in time for the draft. And we have special guest Mike Castellino from Purple Code Canada on with us. We're going to talk a little bit about the Vikings free agency thus far, and we will do some dueling mock drafts here to get started. So, Mike, your thoughts here on so far what the Vikings have done in free agency?
I think, unlike last year in the old regime with Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer, they have checked all the boxes. I absolutely love what Mensa has done. Signings, re-signing Patrick Peterson, just solidify the corner room a little bit with some veteran leadership. Johnny Munt, the backup blocking tight end, I like that signing a lot, as well as Chris Reed yesterday, center/guard, really high level player for cheap. Jesse Davis, I think, is a solid guard for depth purposes, but could start at right guard and be a solid player. As well as I really like the signings of Jordan Hicks, the linebacker from Arizona, Harrison Phillips, the tackle. As a whole, I've really been impressed by what Kwesi's done in his first year as GM with Kevin O'Connell as head coach.
Yeah, I have to agree here. Basically, what they've done so far in addressing, some of their biggest needs in free agency. Getting Zadarius Smith to be opposite Daniil Hunter for the edges, shoring up the defensive line with Harrison Phillips. Plugging Jordan Hicks into that middle linebacker spot, and then going and re-signing Patrick Peterson. Adding Shandon Sullivan and Hairston for cornerback depth. And then the two recent moves on the offensive line with Jesse Davis at guard, and then Chris Reed, a guy who's played both guard and center. They're not really pigeonholed into having to draft for need. I mean, sure, if the board lines up with needs, but they've kind of addressed these things where there's not these glaring holes and, where they're pigeonholed into taking a specific position.
No, I fully agree. I forgot to mention Zadarius, but that's how good of a free agency Kwesi's had. Like, he's hit every single hole that they could have to where they're not pigeonholed at 12. I fully agree.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we'll get right into the mock here. I'll go with my first pick first. Here at number 12 for this version, I'm going with the LSU connection here. The way the board broke, I used the Pro Football Network mock in this one. So Derek Stingley, cornerback, LSU, 6 feet, 190 pounds. I think this guy, if his first year, I know he hasn't, played much over the last couple of years, but his first year when he was out there for LSU, just a game-changing talent, elite speed and athleticism. The ball skills really jump out. I think he's got the traits to match up with all types of wide receivers as a true cornerback one. Be interesting to see if they do take Stingley, will they start him with one of the outside spots? Will they put him inside the nickel? His report, is saying that he has the athleticism to play inside or out. Your thoughts on Stingley?
No, I like that pick a lot. I think it would be a fantastic fit in the cornerback room. It would be exactly what we need, a young, cheap corner that's here long-term alongside Cameron Dantzler. It's an interesting take, although what would they do if they did get him? I don't know if he starts right away because they got Chan Sullivan, another guy I forgot to talk about that they signed for agency, the slot corner from Green Bay. I think that he'd play a good amount, but in a rotation, that's not a bad thing. I would love the pick, though, at Derek Stingley. I really would. I think it'd be great value. Former LSU connection with him and Patrick Peterson, former number 7s, respectively. So, yeah, it'd be cool.
Great. What do you got for your first pick, Mike?
Okay, so the board did not break for me in my, thought process here. I think that the corners will be gone. By that, I mean Ahmad Gardner, at Derek Stingley, and I just don't see Kyle Hamilton falling like the rumors have said to 12. So I went real BPA here off the board, and this might shock some people. Wide receiver Chris Olave, Ohio State. So 6 foot tall, 187 pounds, ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. He has buttery smooth route running, top end speed, and, you know, he bursts on all 3 levels of the field. He scrambles with his quarterback to create, you know, openings in the receiving, you know, and it just comes down to he's just also with speed to the ball flight. He would be a phenomenal fit for Minnesota personally, but I will get into some weaknesses here that he lacks some desired playing strength, which could become a problem. But for me, the reason why I'm not really worried about the concerns that I have here is he would basically be the number 3 receiver in Minnesota. It would be almost like cheating with him, Thielen, KJ Osborne, and Justin Jefferson with Olave. That would be insane. And for me, that's why I would do it, because I think all 4 wide receivers are going to be available at 12, and I think they could just take the pick of the litter.
Yeah, you know, and that's the beauty of what they've done in free agency is it really does allow them to take the best player available. And I would have, you know, like you said, if the board breaks where these cornerbacks are not on the board, and it very well could, I would have no problems taking Olave. I mean, you know, me personally, I love wide receivers anyways, but, you know, I think in this type of offense, especially with Kevin O'Connell using more 11 personnel, you're going to see more wide receivers on the field anyways. So you would get use out of them, even with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson here. And of course, you know, it's not a bad idea, you know, thinking down the line with, you know, Jefferson's contract coming up and, you know, Thielen at his age. So really could not argue against that pick at all. I think, and I think Olave is one of the more surefire receivers in this draft.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like I said, the route running aspect of it is what really intrigues me. Like if you pair him with Jefferson, Thielen, and KJ Osborne on 4 wide with Irv Smith at tight end, like good luck in the red zone. That's nearly impossible to defend. So that's just my mindset on that.
Absolutely.
Who do you got in the second round?
My second round pick here, I went a little bit higher on this player than, you know, some people have him as a third round pick, but I actually went in the second round because I don't want him to get away. I went Charlie Kolar, the tight end from Iowa State, 6'6", 252 pounds. Kind of reminds me of a young Kyle Rudolph in that, you know, the way he goes up, gets the ball, can absorb contact. He's got really, really sure hands, you know, arguably the best pure hands in the draft. You know, he's got a big frame, so he's able to block. And with Irv Smith's health in question and really no other viable receiving tight ends on the roster, this position is actually a sneaky big need for the Vikings. So I went tight end early here. Some people may not like it. I think it's a bigger need than people realize. So, you know, that's why I made the pick.
Well, that's very fair. I think that it's the same idea kind of what I have, where it's a receiving threat to the offense, and they're going to add to it at some point in the draft. I'm just curious of how high. And obviously, tight end's a little bit different than receiver, but I would agree with you that tight end probably needs a little bit more depth than receiver room anyway. It'd be a good pick. I'd be happy with it.
Yep. So, and then who do you have next?
So I went in the second round, 46th overall. Kyler Gordon, cornerback out of Washington, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. I seen on his tape, very impressive play. He had an INT that was an absolute tiptoe, beautiful way to pick off the football against California. It's well equipped to play outside or inside in the nickel slot, which again gives us flexibility. Something that I think that we're going to look into a lot with the Donatel system, the 3-4. They're going to be very multiple. They've talked about that all off season, so I think that's part of it. Possesses dynamic athleticism, size and strength are permanent in his game. Those are his strengths. Some weaknesses, though, he's still working on the technical aspects of the position. overall instincts are average, and he misses too many tackles after the catch and can be a little bit too patient. But for me, again, it was kind of what I said earlier with Stingley when you put him in your mock draft is I'm not so sure this guy's going to start day one anyway. So for me, a Kyler Gordon would be a great value. I think he'd be a very good player for us, but would need a little bit of seasoning, and he would be sprinkled in and would not be forced to start right away. I'd be okay with that. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like the quote unquote second tier of cornerbacks. I think they have upside, and with bringing Patrick Peterson back, it doesn't force you to start this player immediately. So they do have, and not only Peterson, but Sullivan in the slot as well. So you have the luxury of taking a cornerback on day two and just having him learn the ropes and provide depth, as they develop their game. So wouldn't be mad at it at all.
No, I agree. What do you got in the happening at 77th overall, the third round?
I went with a Vikings Twitter favorite here, Cole Strange, guard/center, Chattanooga, 6'5", 307. He's an interior lineman. He's had success in zone. A lot of people like the nastiness and aggression that he plays with. He was mostly a guard in college, but he did play center at the Senior Bowl and was effective. So I like his versatility that could help him challenge for, either, the center position or the guard position. So I think he's a guy that can help out with and provide competition at multiple spots.
No, 100%. I'd love to see the Vikings add to the interior. I don't think they should stop after just signing Jesse Davis and Chris Reed yesterday. I fully agree. That would be a very good pick.
Yeah, and I don't know your thoughts on this. What do you think about Garrett Bradbury? Do you think the Vikings believe that he's the guy long term? Was it coach speak? With O'Connell talking him up. What do you feel about that situation?
So my next pick will head to it, but since
Okay.
you asked me, I'll get right into it. I think it's done. I think we know what he is now. And I do think it was coach speak from O'Connell because I think they're going to try to trade him. I really think they're going to try to get something out of him to create cap space because they can't release him because he's $4 million fully guaranteed if you cut him. No, I think his days in Minnesota are numbered, as they should be, because he's just been poor. Like, it is what it is. He's a first-round bust. It is what it is.
Yeah, you got to think that it could be because are they really trying to go like four deep at guard? You got to think that one of these guys might challenge at center.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Chris Reed was signed to compete for the center position. But I'm going to get to my draft pick here, and now a big reason why I think Bradbury is finished. 77th overall, I give the Vikings Luke Frontner, the center out of University of Kentucky, 6'3", 302 pounds, team captain with elite character, which is something we've seen all offseason with Kwesi, that he's made that a priority. Leadership and collaboration with his teammates is huge. He plays with body control and balance, decent arm extension into initial pass pro punch. He's a guy who I watched his entire tape today against the University of Georgia, against those defensive tackles, obviously, most importantly, Jordan Davis, who is going to go in the first round here. And I thought he hung in really, really well, Bronner. So for me, personally, I think that it's time to move on from Garrett Bradbury. And I think he would be a good step forward to just say it's over and time to move on. What do you think about that?
I'm all about challenging Garrett Bradbury for that center spot, and Fortner is definitely a guy that I've been looking at as well. So to get him there and bring him in, I think would be definitely help the team out for sure.
I just think it's time now. We can only say Bradbury can get better for so long. This is his fourth year next season. don't make the mistake that Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman have made in years past. This is a new regime. Be different and say it's time to move on. You have no reason to have loyalty to this guy. He was not your draft pick. It's just time to move on now. It's as simple as that for me.
Absolutely. And so that takes me into my next pick here in the 5th round. I went for some defensive line depth at nose tackle. So going like with a true nose tackle type here. I went with Neil Farrell, another LSU guy. 6'4", 330 pounds. He's a massive run-stuffing, space-eating, two-down guy who's strictly a nose tackle. But I think, you have guys like, I think Harrison Phillips and Armon Watts are perfect for your 5 techs. And I think they may look at Tomlinson. I think he's the biggest of the 3 at nose. So they don't really, after that, they have more of these lighter types on the team like Twyman and James Lynch. So I think just getting another big, massive guy to just back up at nose might be a good idea.
No, I fully agree with you. I think that defensive tackle is one where they could use depth definitely long-term because Tomlinson, I'm not so convinced that he'll be back after this season. I could easily see him being a casualty in 2023. So no, that would make a lot of sense. And it doesn't hurt to get any more LSU players in this organization because the last 2 that we've had were pretty darn good. So I would like to keep adding to LSU. I mean, Jefferson and Hunter haven't let us down yet, and why not add to that LSU connection more?
Absolutely. And who you got next, Mike?
So I got a trade here.
Oh.
I'm moving into the 4th round. I'm giving up picks 156 from the 5th round and pick 192, our 3rd 6th round pick, moving into the 4th round with Pittsburgh, trading for pick 128. And I'm selecting linebacker DeMarco Jackson from Appalachian State, 6'1", 233, ran a 4.55 40-yard dash. He was another team captain, and he's a hard-nosed football player. He's a good sideline-to-sideline acceleration and range, much improved balance as a tackler in 2021, possesses man and zone coverage talent, but shines most importantly on special teams. Some weaknesses here, easily bumped off coverage by blockers, below average recognition of blocking schemes, and more in assisted tackles and solo tackles during his college career. But for me personally, I think the linebacker room is very similar to corner, where I think that they already have their starters at linebacker in Kendricks and Hicks from inside guys, inside linebackers. So I think that they're in a great spot. And getting a guy like Jackson who just flies on tape, he had really impressive tape against Louisville as well. I would love to see this guy become a Viking.
Yeah, I like that athleticism there, and I think that they could probably use some competition for Troy Dye, who, has kind of been, mediocre at best when he's been asked to play. So, yeah, I'm definitely, and then, I got a linebacker later on in this draft, but, I also like the aggressiveness of trading up in the mid rounds. We've seen, in years past, Rick Spielman, sticking with the low round picks or trading back for more low round picks, and that doesn't always work. So I like your aggressiveness moving up.
And the reason I've done it is I think Quessy and his analytics will say there is more value in moving a few picks and trading up and having more quality over quantity. And I really think that's what we'll see a little bit in this draft. So that's why I see them trading up at least once. I think that we will see a trade up in this draft. That's my bold take as a whole. I think that Quessy is not going to just sit and pick or trade down. I think he will be aggressive if he sees fit.
That would be refreshing.
Yeah.
My next pick here, sixth round, the first pick of the sixth round of the three that they had, because I didn't do any trades in this particular one, but I went sixth round here. Calvin Austin, a 5'8", 170-pound slot receiver slash punt returner. With D.D. Westbrook not being re-signed at this point, they may look to go to special teams here on day three. Obviously, strictly a slot at that size, which has caused him to fall this far. But he ran a 4.32. He is a capable punt returner, and he's a threat to score when he touches the ball. So maybe it's a steal, maybe it's maybe it's not. But I think I think on day three you're looking at special teams.
No, I agree, and it was the same thing I did with Jackson, right, where he's a guy on special teams as well. These guys in the 4th through 7th rounds are never going to be plug and play straight off the pop unless they're really an uber athlete that just shines in preseason. They have to earn their keep in the special teams. And I agree. I think that punt returner is a sneaky need here for the Vikings, especially if they don't bring D.D. Westbrook back. And with their money that they have to spend, I don't see it being realistic. So, no, I would agree with you. That would be a good move. We could use a little bit more in speed on this team. I know ISM has some potential as well when it comes to the slot guy with speed, but I think the punt return aspect of it makes it a good pick for me.
All right. And then what was next for you in the 6th?
So 6th round, pick 184 from the Chris Herndon trade in the New York Jets. That was, fantastic value for the Vikings. I'm obviously being sarcastic, but, it is what it is. So I am taking a tight end, though, funny enough, so maybe he'll replace Herndon and maybe be more productive than he ever was in Minnesota. Cole Turner, tight end at a University of Nevada, 6'6", 246, long body with a high school basketball background, plays with confidence as a pass catcher. He's a red zone weapon, and he really impressed me on tape with some one-handed catches, funny enough, kind of like Kyle Rudolph, except a better athlete, to be quite honest with you. And he's a very good adjuster to the deep ball. Some weaknesses, though, are, again, 6th-round pick, right? Linebacker stack and play through him, and his strength and play speed, needs to improve. So he's really strictly just a hands guy, kind of almost like McCall Pruitt a few years ago, where you knew – oh, no, it wasn't McCall Pruitt. Who was the guy? From, I think it was Notre Dame, I want to say, a few years ago. It's not coming to me. He ended up never making the team, but anyway, it's not coming to me. Anyway, he's a pure hands guy. He's not going to bring any blocking ability. Bucky Hodges. Is that it?
Oh, Bucky Hodges. Yeah, I remember
Bucky Hodges.
Yep.
There it is. And similar type build where he's purely just a pass-catching tight end. But at this point, because we signed Johnny Munt, we don't need to worry about blocking whatsoever from the tight end position. We just need to improve, with the second tight end potentially more with receiving. And I think that Cole Turner would do that in spades.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on another mock, and I have Cole Turner as a selection. So I am a fan of his, and he does have that receiving ability that you're looking for in a backup move tight end role. So good pick.
So what did you have with your next pick?
Yeah, my next one here, the second 6th-round pick that I had, Obina Easy, if I'm pronouncing that right, offensive tackle from TCU, 6'7", 321 pounds, an athletically gifted tackle prospect who does need technical work, but could have upside as a swing backup tackle. I think the Vikings are probably going to move Oli Udoh back to swing tackle, where he was a better player than he was as a guard. They tried the Udoh guard experiment. It, didn't work out, so I think he's going to go back to tackle. But, this is maybe another Oli Udoh type where you see the physical traits, but they may need a couple of years to develop. So this guy's probably a practice squad candidate, but he kind of fits the athletic traits that they look for in this scheme.
No, that's fair. I mean, I could absolutely see them trying to bring in their own project offensive tackle late in the draft because then, like you said, they're not attached to Oli Udo, Blake Brendel, and other guys on the roster. So, no, that's very possible. And I would have no problem with that. At that point, you're just hoping for a gem at that point, right? You're digging and just hoping you hit something. So, I'd be good with that. I have no problem with that.
Yep.
Okay, so my next pick here, my last sixth-round pick, because I traded the other one to Pittsburgh earlier. Sixth round, 191 from the Mike Hughes trade from Kansas City last season. Talk about not players who did not turn out for us in the first round. I am selecting Smoke Monday, probably one of the funnest names in the draft. Safety, Auburn, 6'2", 207. Loves football and plays with passion. He possesses he possesses unmistakable alpha mentality. So he's an absolute dog. He finished his 2021 season with 9 TFLs, tackles for loss. One game that stood out for me when I watched some tape on him was 2020 against University of Alabama on Mac Jones. He had a pick 6 on him, and he sacked him. So I think this would be a guy who needs a lot of work, and he's very, very gullible against the play action. So he needs work. He's far from a finished product, but for his raw dog mentality, I think this is a guy who could crack the roster as a special teamer, and that's what you're looking for late day 3.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely wonderful name, and the special teams prowess, exactly. Like, if you have a guy that is an aggressive style of play, those are the guys you want on your special teams. Punt coverages and kick coverages that can really, give you a big momentum changing play. So that's basically what you're looking for at this point in the draft. My next pick, my final 6th-round pick here is Jack Sanborn, inside linebacker from Wisconsin, 6'2", 234 pounds, good form tackler. A guy that would definitely play special teams, but could thrive as a backup inside linebacker. He's got football intelligence is a plus, and according to his scouting report, plays with some pretty good technique. So, definitely a guy that can come in here and challenge for a bottom of the roster spot or a practice squad spot.
No, I would agree. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that this is what day 3 really is. It's special teams. If you have ability as a special teamer, you're going to make it up. There, early in the 4th round, maybe some guys, but as a whole, no, I'd like to see the Vikings add to their linebacker depth, so this would be a good pick for me.
Yeah. And then do you have a 7th left?
Yeah. So my last pick of the draft, pick 250th in the 7th round, I'm selecting Marquand McCall, defensive tackle / nose tackle from University of Kentucky. Funny enough, Frontner's teammate, which would be hilarious, taking 2 players at the University of Kentucky and signing a high-level free agent from University of Kentucky in Zadarius Smith. But hey, if it fits, it fits. 6'3", 342. Some of his strengths are he's an adequate snap quickness guy. So as the snap is gone, he's very fast twitch right in the initial burst, fires into the A gaps and pushes very, into the backfield very well as a run stuffer, takes effort and double teams to get him moved, and he's effective off of the block and gets into lanes to stop the run. But let me make this clear. He is a big beast, run stuffer only. His weaknesses are that he offers basically nothing as a pass rusher. But for me, in Ed Donatel's system, McCall could be a guy who would be a great rotational piece and be exclusive to stop the run. I would be more than happy with that in the 7th round.
Yeah, you're reading my mind, Mike, because I have him in another mock that I'm working on too. So that's definitely a day 3 diamond that I'm looking at. And I have another, um, diamond in the rough type player here in the seventh round, potential diamond in the rough. I have Elijah Hicks, a safety from Cal, 5'11", 198. This is a safety who has cornerback experience in his background, so kind of like Cam Bynum. Um, this is a guy that could use deep cover skills to be more of like a single high type of center fielder type safety. We have the shot to make the roster at the bottom end or the practice squad. Maybe can offer some special teams ability, but a versatile player that can play multiple positions in the secondary here in the seventh round.
No, I would 100% agree that safety depth is needed on this roster. Aside from Bynum and Harrison Smith, I believe it's Miles Dorn, if I'm not mistaken, as the next man up. Like, that is not good. So they definitely need to address the safety spot at some point in the draft for sure. I'd be more than happy to see that. Similar idea to Smoke Monday, where they're guys you're just betting on traits, but that's what you got to do with day 3.
Yeah, I mean, unless Kyle Hamilton falls to 12, probably looking at day 3, since they may see cornerback and interior line as bigger priorities, but we'll see how it shakes out.
No, I fully agree. Kyle Hamilton could absolutely change all of that discussion when it comes to safety. And in fact, we could play 3 safety looks next season if we got him. But, that's the great thing about the draft and being able to not be pigeonholed and being able to go PPAs. This is going to be a really exciting draft for Quasi's first draft as the Vikings GM. I'm really pumped for it.
Yeah, I really don't remember the last time the Vikings could truly go BPA. It really wasn't a thing.
I was thinking, what about 2018 when they took Hughes? That's the only time that comes to mind.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, 2018 probably you could say that. But, 2019, 2020, 2021, they had clear needs.
Agreed. Yep.
So, well, yeah, no, this is a good way to kick off the mock draft season here, for sure. I've been diving into it a lot more lately, but it's getting we're in April now, so should be very interesting here to see how people's mock drafts and what they're hearing shakes out in the next couple of weeks.
No, I fully agree, Jason. 100% agree. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks.
No doubt about it. Well, Mike, thanks for joining me today, and we will see all of you guys later on the next edition of Viking Spin. We'll be coming back with another mock draft for you real soon. So take care, everybody.
Absolutely. Peace. Skol.